Peace, peace, beautiful beings. I am Coach Vee, and I'm a holistic mental health and healing coach, national speaker, author, and the creator of the Mental Health is Sexy brand. Today, I am bringing to you tip number 3 when it comes to anxiety and depression tips without medication. If you've been following me on all of my social media platforms, you know that we've covered tip number 1 about being present in the moment. Tip number 2 about recognizing your triggers. And now today, tip number 3, we're going to talk briefly about how you can favorably respond after you've been triggered. So let's say you're watching a movie or you hear a song or you're sitting around a group of family or friends and they're talking about old times and maybe a story comes up that you really don't want to revisit. And so now you're feeling triggered. Your heart rate increases, you begin to sweat, your blood pressure rises, your breathing becomes heavier. You're recognizing that something that was said or something that you viewed or something that you heard has begun to bring up these feelings of anxiety or bring up these feelings of depression or guilt. Pardon me. Or bring up worry or fear. You've recognized this is happening. You're identifying the physical and emotional changes that are happening right now within yourself. When you're able to pinpoint those times, then you can create a plan of action that can bring you back to calm and inner peace. So, for example, if you're watching a movie and something happens in the movie that triggers any of the aforementioned behaviors, you can simply choose to change the channel or turn the movie off. Or if you're in the theater, leave the theater. Now, if those aren't options for you, I would like for you in that moment to bring yourself back to the present moment by focusing on your breathing. What I mean is this. We've already talked about that anxiety typically has symptoms because you're worried about something that hasn't even occurred yet, what we call the future. We've also talked about that depression typically has symptoms exhibited when you're thinking about the past and sometimes the future if you're thinking about things being bleak and hopeless. When you're triggered, if you choose to leave the past and leave the future and focus right now on that present moment, by focusing on your breathing, you're more likely to see and understand that in that present moment, you're fine. In that present moment, you're not in danger. In that present moment, you wouldn't make the decisions that you may have made in the past that make you feel guilty or angry or hopeless. Another way that you can have a plan of action in place to bring you back to the moment and restore your inner peace after you've been triggered can simply be to understand that you are always safe, divinely protected, and guided. Now, that's called a positive affirmation. And a positive affirmation is something that you tell yourself. So what that means is it's a thought that you tell yourself. You can choose to say it out loud, but initially it's a thought. What I'm teaching you is this. You are in control of your thoughts. Whether they are healthy thoughts or harmful thoughts, you are in control. So after you've been triggered, you can choose in that moment to think something positive, to think something true, and to think something that will bring you back to a place of calm and inner peace. Work on not allowing yourself to get so far gone in harmful thoughts that your anxiety increases, that your depression increases. It's just a thought. My intent is not to make it seem so simple and mundane. However, in reality, that's what it is. It's a thought. You just haven't been taught that you are in control of your thoughts. Thoughts willy-nilly can pop up, pum, but they come from a source. So when those thoughts pop up that don't bring you happiness, joy, peace, or love, you are in control of choosing to stop that thought in its tracks and replacing it with a healthy, positive, thought of love and peace. That's the message I want to convey to you today. If you're interested in learning more about my experience with mental illness and how I used alternative and holistic methods to renew my mind and take charge of my mental health without medication, I invite you to join me on my free live webinar next Thursday, April the 9th at 4 p.m. Because the webinar is free, there are 2 steps you must follow in order to take advantage of this free offer. 1, you must visit my website, www.coachvmp.com, subscribe to my email list, and then scroll down to the bottom and send me a message from my website indicating that you would like to take part in the free live webinar April the 9th at 4 p.m., where you can hear more details about my experience with mental illness, as well as learn detailed tips and techniques that you can use to begin to take charge of your mental health immediately. I'm going to talk to you all for about 44 minutes, and then the other 16 minutes, because you get an hour of my time, the other 16 minutes I'm going to open up for live Q&A. So be sure to have your questions ready as they pertain to anxiety, depression, and how to take charge of your mental health without medication. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for everyone who've already contacted me and expressed interest in taking part of the free live webinar. So y'all still got time if you haven't already. Send me a message today at www.coachvmp.com. Subscribe to my email list, and you will have your free ticket to join the live webinar next Thursday. I will see you in the next video. Be blessed.